It's the Al Travis Show, and we're lucky to have our next guest on. He's Todd Bergeth, and he's Todd and Friends and Todd and Souhan. You can get him wherever you get your podcast. Todd, thanks for coming on the program, buddy.
Yeah, you bet, Al. Appreciate it.
Lots to discuss. I want to ask you about the Minnesota Vikings first. Not that it's a little bit old, but I want to get your opinion on it. Did we see enough out of Minnesota in that game, shutout victory after being shut out, enough that maybe no heads need to roll this year? You go from a 14-win team to what we're 5 now, maybe we get to 6, maybe 7. Is that enough to keep somebody from losing their job?
Oy, good question. I don't think they're going to probably make it based on this win and the rest of the season. I really think if they've decided they're going to move on, I don't think it'll matter.
Oh.
I think that because they see that they just spent $300 million in the off season, and we're hoping for 6 wins, or 7, and that isn't what they signed up for. And they're aware of any stats that we might be aware of how poorly the Vikings have drafted in the Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah era. I think KOC is safe as safe can be. I think they really like him. I think they enjoy him basically being the face of the franchise until they hope J.J. McCarthy becomes that. But he's not yet.
Yeah.
The face of the franchise is Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, and you aren't going to get rid of a guy who was coach of the year last year. Right, I mean, he didn't become an idiot in a minute, but you can go back to the drafts that we've had and compare to the other people's drafts, and we are a little behind that curveball. Let me ask you this. Is that game, I mean, he wasn't Hall of Fame material, but a quarterback rating of 129, 163 yards, no interceptions. Is that enough to help this kid understand, JJ, that he can play in this league? Because I think a lot of it was confidence. He went in with the weight of the world on his shoulders. If he screwed up that game, he may be on the way out.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. It goes a long ways. And finally, he got a game called for him that suits his skills at this point in his career. I'm not usually one who questions the play calling a lot because we don't really know what goes into all that. But it was obvious there was more of an emphasis on the run. Now, maybe they were able to run the ball. That's why they kept doing it. Perhaps that was it. But I saw a 2nd down and 10 run play called. I don't know how many times that's happened. I saw 3rd and 1. I saw 4th and 1 where running plays were called. I thought the game plan suited his skills at this point better. He has the physical skills. He didn't quite have the defense reading skills to comprehend everything that was thrown on him to begin with. And I think it's harder to play at home when you're in the situation that he was in. If he goes on the road and plays poorly, nobody boos him. They might laugh in the stands about, look how poorly he's playing, but they're not booing him. At home, he plays poorly in that game, he was going to get booed. And that sticks with a guy when your home fans are booing you, especially when you're all 6 games into your career.
Yeah. And the fact that there were actually empty seats in a Viking stadium. I don't know when the last time that happened. People just decided it wasn't worth going. I like 163 for, the running game, 162 for the passing game. Now, again, it might be because of the defense. You could do that. I would say if I'm going to look at anything, I like the idea that defense had 3 turnovers. We've needed that. I would say there's got to be at some point the opportunity to throw Jefferson something deep. Even if it's intercepted, it's such a waste of his talent.
Well, he's had a lot of big years. I mean, he's set all these receiving records, so hopefully that's bought the Vikings and their quarterback situation a little grace from him. I mean, this is the first bumpy stretch of his career. I mean, he was set receiving 1,500 yards and 110 catches and 10 touchdowns every season with Cousins et al. He's got to have a little patience here, too.
Yeah.
I don't think his career is being wasted. Some games are, but that's not his career. His career to this point has him on a Hall of Fame trajectory. Now, in order to get there, he needs to at least appear in a Super Bowl or win some playoff games. And hopefully he's smart enough to see that they've tried it, the free agent route, the aging quarterback route. That hasn't worked. It's time to get a young guy, get behind him and believe him, even though he's sacrificing some stats for this year. I honestly don't feel that sorry for him, that he's not catching as many balls for as many yards. It's more important at this point that they develop the young quarterback. He'll be fine. He's a good teammate. That's part of the reason they made him the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL when they did. He's not anymore. But when he signed that contract, They didn't just do it because of production. They did it for who he is off the field. So now he's getting tested. Let's hope he lives up to the test and doesn't become a problem.
Let me ask you this, just in general in the NFL, how quickly the mighty can fall. Have you been watching the Kansas City Chiefs lately? This is a team, was all that and then some, and they are having a hard time to win. Last night, the Eagles end up losing to the Chargers, which that in itself wouldn't be a thing. But Hurts had, 4 turnovers? He had 2 in one play. This is the Super Bowl defending champions, and they may not make the playoffs. So looking in our division, Detroit is in 3rd place. We're in 4th. We had a 14-win season last year, and they got in ahead of us. You know what I'm saying? The mighty have fallen.
That's true. I was talking about this with Souhan last week about how Mahomes could be at home this year. The Lions, they might make the playoffs, but who knows where they go. The Eagles will probably make the postseason, but there's the Ravens going home.
Mm-hmm.
They've turned up and are turtling in a position. Lamar Jackson's having a very poor season. He doesn't get much talk about it when he does. He gets lots of talk when he's having a good season. There's some talk about it, but immediately excuses are, he must be hiding an injury. Yeah. Well, if he is, then they're breaking NFL rules. I think he just has gotten a little satisfied and doesn't like the weapons necessarily that he has. He isn't running as much because it's painful to do so in the NFL. He's tired of taking those heavy licks by running the ball as much as he had throughout his career. So there is some guys. And Mahomes and the Chiefs, they're 6 and 7. Yeah. They could be going home. He's never been out sooner than overtime of the conference championship game in his career. Isn't that something?
That's what I'm saying. This has got to be really hard for them. So let me just ask you your opinion then with Minnesota. We've got Dallas at Dallas. We have got the New York Giants in New York before we take Detroit and Green Bay. With those 4 games, these first 2 are the possibility of wins, right? Is this us being able to get our feet back under us before we do some conference stuff?
Yeah, I like that you include Dallas as what could be certainly a win for the Vikings. I agree. Dallas gets so much hype when they have a few games that go their way, and then they roll over again and show that they don't win in big games. The Vikings is not a big game. It's one that the Cowboys could actually look past. Yeah. They're a better team. They have a better quarterback in Dak Prescott. He's a veteran. He can post big yards in the regular season, certainly. It's a standalone game on Sunday night, so usually he plays pretty well in those games. They have more talent, but they could look past the Vikings because they have bigger fish to fry down the road, certainly, than they do. Although a team at 6-6-1 really shouldn't look past anyone. But, they could win that. They should beat the Giants. And then the Lions and Packers, both of those at home. Who knows? It'd be sweet to pick off one. But I can't really.
And just make sure even take them both, just to ruin their days would be a lot of fun there in our conference. All right, let's go to break. I want to ask you a little bit about your Minnesota Timberwolves, if you're good with that. Todd Bergeth on the Al Travis Show. Love having him on. Find him wherever you get your podcast. Todd and Friends or Todd and Souhan. It's the Al Travis Show. More right after this. It's the Al Travis Show. We've got him, Todd Bergeth, and I appreciate him being here and chatting with us. We'll talk a little bit about the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't think there's anything really horribly wrong with losing to the Phoenix Suns, but when you look that they didn't have Booker and our guy Ant went off for 40 and you still lose, there is something just not right, Todd. Something isn't working with this squad.
Yeah. Well, they did win the previous 5 games. So you got a little bit of recency bias. But, I agree. And what the problem is the last 5 minutes of the game at clutch time. Yep. They don't perform very well in those situations. I'm not sure what the deal is. We saw, Julius Randle take a very poor shot at the end of the game a couple of times. And so, Ant has done it before. He seems to be getting a little better at that. It was curious to me that Ant didn't want to shoot the ball against the Clippers. That's all he did was pass. He was completely disinterested. Yeah. And it's like he has a game plan for himself before the game begins, and it is strange sometimes to watch. Like, I believe he went into that game against the Clippers saying, I'm just giving up the ball. I'm not taking big shots at the end. He did that. They did win. But I thought that was curious. Yeah, it's clutch time. I like the makeup of this team. better than others, but I want to see him play better in the fourth quarter. That has not been a good quarter for him.
Well, and I get that Ant can get his shot anytime he wants and get his points. He scored 40 in that loss. Mm-hmm. But it's all the rest of them around him. And this is, I guess, when Julius Randle got 21, I can live with that. Jaden McDaniels, 4 points. Dante DiVincenzo, 2. Naz Reid came in for 6. I mean, your next 3 guys out of 5 aren't even getting to double digits. You look at a bunch of no-names that were with us with the Suns, 11, 18, 22, 12, 19, and their 6th guy coming in had 10. That's how you win. Yeah, but this is how you win. So Ant can get their stuff. Minnesota's down by 3 with like 8 seconds to go. And they get 2 good open 3-point shots to tie this thing. They went to McDaniels, who was 0 for 5 for the day. And the last one went to Naz Reid. He was 2 for 10. So you're throwing your game-tying shots at a guys who are literally 2 for 15. I think you're the Suns saying, take that. We'll keep Ant from touching the ball. Randall's not going to touch the ball. Let's see what happens from here.
Yeah, they got to make those shots. All there is to it. And they didn't. And Naz has had he started slow, then he had a terrific hot streak, and he was cold in last night's game against the Suns. And Jaden McDaniels' offensive game, I thought earlier in the season, here we go. He's starting to improve. He's beginning to become more consistent on the offensive end of the floor, and then that has waned. He's just not a natural offensively gifted player. Yeah. And Naz, if he's hitting that corner 3, his value is much higher than when he's missing it. And I've heard it said it's a make or miss league, and that was kind of the case in that game against the Suns last night. But you're right; they played without Devin Booker and one of their other starters, and the Wolves can't beat them, even though it's all hands on deck. And the ancillary players didn't play well. And Rudy Gobert was on the bench for the last 7 or 8 minutes of the game because he wasn't fast enough to keep up with the Suns' pace.
Well, he gets so frustrated, and he's got to figure this out. He got being pretty good in the head, and they got a technical foul on a guy, and then you could see that he had lost his way, if you will, because he had scored 15 points up till then. And at some point, somebody went in for a easy slam dunk, and he just elbowed him right through the gut, threw him to the ground. Double flagrant, and you listen to the announcers. Oh, that's not fair. It's like, no, the guy was in the air and you elbowed him right in the chest. It was what it was, but it's losing your concentration to let a bad foul on you. It got called. You got the free throws. To let that affect it, so you're kicked out of the game. You don't think Rudy would have been a help in those last 30 seconds? He
would have.
Yeah,
he would have. I missed that he got booted on the second flagrant too. Yeah. He would have defensively, especially. He guards the paint. My broader point is though he's getting older. I think that's why they drafted 2 big men this last year because he could be a trade chip for the Wolves if they determine that they don't have enough to get to the NBA Finals this year by the trade deadline. Tim Conley isn't a guy to sit around. He likes to do things.
Do you think this team as is, because I'm just comparing to Oklahoma City, right? Same guys, same team, but they're just on a roll. This Minnesota team is basically the same. We haven't gotten better. Do you see us even getting to the Western Conference with this group? Or is there going to have to be, a point guard, obviously, but are you going to find that out there in the market?
Well, you're not going to find, I've seen a couple of ex-posts of people that are in media talking about potentially Kyrie Irving if the Mavericks continue to struggle. I'm not sure I'd want Kyrie. Yeah. He's shown that he can play with other ball-dominant guys. I mean, he was very good with Luka Doncic. Yep. But he's so injury-prone. He's gotten older. And I don't think the Wolves have the firepower in terms of draft picks and tradable players to get him. Now, if it's a Trey Jones, somebody like that, that's more of just kind of a placeholder, if you will, just a serviceable point guard, I think that's possible without emptying the bank vault. I don't really want to go big on whatever point guard may be available at this point. But we'll see what Connolly thinks. He might think that Kyrie Irving is the answer. It sounds like Giannis is starting to push a little more behind the scenes to get out of Milwaukee so that while many thought it would be off-season, it could be trade deadline for Giannis. Again, I'm not sure the Wolves have what it would take to get him, and would he come to Minnesota? But would you don't want to trade for the guy if he doesn't want to come.
If you're this close, are we needing a Giannis guy? We need a point guard. So you trade out, and you're going to change the entire idea what this team is going to do. You need a point guard. How can you get it? Otherwise, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to be mean. I just don't see this team possibly even getting to the Western Conference, let alone getting past Oklahoma City. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, well, it's hard to argue that point right now. I'm just going to go on. They made it to the Western Finals the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Or can they get out of it and past Oklahoma City? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's why Conley makes the deal. I feel like they believe this is the year they get to the finals. Ant is in his 5th year. Mm-hmm. His game continues to improve. His scoring is up again this year. I think they think it's kind of, we got to do it now because Rudy is nearing the end. I know Mike Conley is just a role player these days.
Yeah.
But he's going to be gone soon. I think they think this is the year that the window is open. So it wouldn't surprise me if Conley made a big move.
All right, probably just my last, not really hot take, but I'm okay with Ant can score when Ant wants. But I think Ant has to find a way to get the Daniels more than 4 points or DiVincenzo more than 2 or even Nasri 6. He's got to find a way that he can get to 30 every game and spread that around, because when the game came on, again, just watching, when that game came down to push come to shove, they were not going to let Ant get the ball, and the other 2 guys didn't make the shots.
That's right. And you see SGA, who is a fair comparison. They're similar in size, and Ant is more thick physically, but they're supposed to be the same guys, right? They're supposed to be operating their teams at a high level, and he does not average the same number of rebounds and assists and isn't the clutch time player that SGA is. He needs to figure that out. He needs to be more productive for his teammates in certain areas, and he needs to play better down the stretch. I don't know how you convince yourself to do that necessarily. I
don't know either. It's got to be tough. And if you're going to bring a point guard in, he's got to be able to get along with that guy because he is our guy. So you got to mend with him. Sir, I'm out of time. I love having you on the program. I thank you for doing this with me. I really do. All right, it's Todd Bergeth. Be sure to get out and check him out wherever you get your podcast. Todd and Friends or Todd and Souhan, wherever you get your podcast. Back with more right after this.